All right, we got to get this started. Welcome. We're getting started early, my friends, because we're out of here at 8:30. So if you come to the live stream on time, you will get the knowledge, get the analysis. If you come late, I won't be here. Welcome, welcome. How's everyone doing? Good morning. Some interesting things going on here to pay attention to on a day like today. It's not all up. It's not all up. There's no sound? Pretty sure there's sound. I see sound moving on my end. Yeah, NVDA shares pretty hot, man. It's gonna be it's gonna be a pretty nice open for my long term. That's for sure. Probably up. What's it up right now? Be up close to 10K at open on just shares alone. A little less. Just about. I have 125 shares right now, and it's up $87 per share. Yeah, 10,800. Not bad. Not bad on shares, huh? Not bad on the shares. But it is not all up. You need to remember that today, because you are seeing some intense discrepancies between the NASDAQ, the S&P 500, the Dow Jones. The Dow Jones is red this morning. The S&P 500 is barely up, and the NASDAQ is the real winner. So you need to be careful playing SPY, SPX, right? Options. If you go long ES, if you go long the SPX, if you go long the SPY because you think that the NASDAQ is going to move higher, it's not going to work, right? It may work, it may catch up, but you need to make sure you know that, right? SPX is trading the S&P 500, which is weak today. Or not weak, but it's weaker than the main move, which is the NASDAQ, right? So just be aware of this, right? As you approach today, you might not get the same juicy move on the SPY as you may get on the QQQ today, right? There is a very big discrepancy here that you need to be paying attention to before you start, thinking, hey, I'm going to take SPX because the market's going straight up. It's not that straight up. And the ES is actually under some pretty big levels still. The NASDAQ is the runaway train right now. So you need to make sure you understand the difference there, right? You need to understand the difference there. All right. So good morning, everyone. It's going to be a short live stream. I got to catch a flight here, cutting it real close, but I think I'll be all right. Heading out to New Jersey, going to go visit my friends, going to go see Carmine. Look out for a post from me on Instagram today. We're going to accept some questions. We're going to make a little video, maybe answering like 10 questions from the community, sort of going back and forth, a little bit of a podcast style, questions, blah, 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 one of those types of videos. So hopefully you guys enjoy that. And yeah, so 8:02, let's just go ahead and get started. Welcome, guys. Press that like button if you could. Subscribe to the channel. And yeah, so I don't have a schedule today. We're just going to jump right into it. I know exactly what we're looking at. We're looking at the futures. We're looking at some of the semiconductors. We're looking at some of the underperformance and looking at some of the big names. So here we go, right? NASDAQ, obviously the big one, right? The big move, the NASDAQ. Here, let's go over the NQ futures and look at some levels to watch today. So yesterday, obviously, right, big move on NVDA earnings, right? Monster move to the upside. NASDAQ right now is up 2%. That's a huge move for the NASDAQ. Now, you can see this is very key what happened yesterday after hours into the pre-market today, right? You can see right here this little 13,825 level, right? This was very key in causing upside, right? Previous highs, previous lows, right? Previous lows, and look at what happened here in the pre-market after hours today. You can see we held that 13,825, 13,810 area pretty much perfectly. That was key. That was instrumental to pushing to the upside, right? You can see right here, up, hold, and then another upside move here in the pre-market. Now, as we speak, right, we are pushing into this previous high, right? We are pushing right into this high here from Thursday of last week, from Monday and Tuesday of this week, and we are right there at that level, right? Right there at that 13,950. So watch out for that 13,950 today. That's going to be key. If we can get over that 13,950, right? If we can hold above this level and we can start to hold here and turn it into support, that is where that NASDAQ may be able to continue and really get some strength above this little double top here at 13,950. Now, this is where things get interesting, right? Because to the upside, there's not many levels on the NASDAQ. This is where it gets a little bit difficult, right? Because I do have a little line here at 14,000 psych. There's really nothing there in terms of, you know, the levels on the previous charts. But I am going to keep a little something there at 14,000 just because that is going to be a major psych level, right? There's going to be some reactions, I think, at 14,000 on the NQ. So 13,950, 14,000, those are two upside levels I'd pay attention to here. I would, you know, I don't know if you're going to get this, but I would love to see this pullback right here to this 13,880 and then long it off that. That would be the best trade of the day if we could get that move, right? If we could pull back to this low, to Monday's highs, to this little futures high right here, right? If we could get that pullback to 13,880, I would love a long entry right here. That would be great. Do we get that? I don't know, right? With the NASDAQ this strong, I don't know if you get that pullback, but I would absolutely be looking for that, right? If you can get that pullback to this 13,880, this could be a nice little pullback, right? This could be a nice little pullback. We do have GDP this morning. We do have jobless claims this morning. So there could be some movement off that economic event, right? Which could cause a little downside. So we will see at 8:30 what happens there. So 13,950, we're pushing right into it right now. 14,000 and 13,880. Those are the three levels I'd be watching here, right? If I go out to the daily chart, right, and we go out to where this NASDAQ is, and we zoom out, above 14,000, this is where I think you will push, right here. This is likely where the NASDAQ potentially pushes to if we get more strength. And this is a big ass level here, right? Look at all these. Look at all these highs here at 14,300, right? Look at all these highs at 14,300. This is a huge level on the daily chart. Rejection. This is 4 rejections here and 6 rejections here. So this is 10 days, right? 10 huge wick rejections at 14,300. That could be the move that we see today, right? That could be where the NASDAQ attempts to move into. If we get a monster day on the NASDAQ, right? If we really get going here, or maybe over into end of week, you might be targeting that 14.3, right? If you get a big move here, a continuation move on the market. Maybe if GDP is good, if there's some kind of debt ceiling news that's positive, right? That could be your catalyst towards that 14.3 level on the NASDAQ. But first, right, 13,950. You can actually see it's rejecting right now. Look at that. Look at that. Yeah, look at that candle right at 13,950 right there. So very interesting. That's going to be your level. 13,950, 13,880. You want to see a pullback to 13,880 for longs. That's where your opportunity steps in. So 13,950, 13,880 on the NASDAQ. QQQ, it's right here at 339. Look at that rejection that just came in. That is the exact high right here. All right, so you can see that exact high just reacted as we're speaking here. So right here, right, previous high, 339, right, on the Qs. Cyber, I sent you a message. You are not part of the Discord. You signed up for the chart Discord. It is not the main Discord community. I emailed you. I'll get back to your email. All right. 339. I will refund you any charges that were made if you don't have access. 339. All right. QQQ. Watch out for that 339. That's a very big level, right? If you get over that 339, that is where you can start to push into that major rejection level on the Qs up here at 347, right? 347 area. That's that major rejection area. That's 14,300. So there you go, right? Very clear level here. 339. All right. So NASDAQ 13,950, QQQ 339. If you can break and hold over those levels, then I think you can get upside continuation today. Just remember, there's going to be a major gap on this QQQ chart. There's going to be a major gap on a lot of charts. All right. Let's go ES. This is what I'm talking about with the ES. This is not a strong move on the ES by any means, right? The ES did not even get over 4170, right? The ES did not even get over 4170, right? So this is very interesting here. This is what I'm referring to as you have to be careful thinking that you can play SPY calls today because the market is up, right? Because NVIDIA is up, because the NASDAQ's up, I'm going to play SPY calls. I would be careful in that assumption, right? I'd be careful in that assumption. This is not a very strong move on the SPY, right? You are still under this channel low at 4170. So please be careful of that level on the ES, right? That could definitely be a rejection point today. I think the only way you go long SPY or the ES or the SPX is if you get a hold over 4170 on the ES futures, right? If you can get a hold over 4170 here, then I think you'll get that push, right? But that is not until you get a break and hold over this 4170, all right? This is very important to pay attention to today. SPY, it's around this 415, 414.50, right? 415, 414.50 is this previous high here. It's this previous low here. It's this previous high here, right? And you are still trading under that. So please be careful of that 415 area on the SPY, and be careful of that 4170 on the ES. Big levels, and you need to know the underperformance here on the ES. All right. The Dow is red this morning, very weak, right? So it's not the same, right? This is not the entire market's up right now. The Dow is down 0.2%. It's down 64 points this morning. I would be careful just watching demand stepping up here around this 32.6. But this is just something to pay attention to, right? The Dow Jones is red this morning. It is all NVIDIA. It is all NASDAQ. So We'll go to the Russell. I think the Russell is also red this morning. Yeah, the Russell pretty much just rejected that channel high perfectly. I mean, this is the same thing over and over again, right, guys? Channel high supply, channel low demand. You play the lows, you play the highs. Same thing again on the Russell. So, ES, remember, not that strong with the market, right? With the NASDAQ market. Be careful of 4170. On the SPY, right? Be careful of 415. On the NASDAQ, watch this 13,950, then this 14,000. And on the QQQ, watch this 339 and maybe that 340 psych level, which would line up with that 14,000. All right? NVIDIA. How do you play NVIDIA today, right? If you didn't YOLO some earnings calls, right? How do you play NVIDIA today? It's at all-time highs. There's no levels above. Here's how I would play NVIDIA today. You look for the break and hold of the after-hours highs. After-hours highs here are exactly 395. Exactly 395 on the dot. So what do you look for, right? You look for a break, and you look for a hold above 395. If you start to see support step in at the previous after-hours highs, earnings highs, then I think you can find your long entry, right? Right around this 395 retest. That is how I would play NVIDIA to the upside if it's very strong, right? That's the setup that I would look for. I think that's actually quite a good setup, right? I know a lot of people are not going to want to play NVIDIA today because it's just straight up, but I actually think that's a pretty solid setup. If you can turn anywhere between this 393 and 395 into a demand, I actually sort of like that setup. So if I go down to the 2-minute chart and I zoom in here. So these little highs here, right here, 393, 390 or 392.50, 392.50, 392.50. If you can see this start to build, right, a support above those after hours highs, I think you can actually get a nice setup here. So I would watch that. I would watch that today. If NVIDIA just is strong out of the gates, look for this 392.50, 395 to turn into demand. If you break back below 392.50, then I think you're going to want to be very careful longing NVIDIA back into these areas, right? If you get a pullback on NVIDIA today, your best entry on a dip buy is 370, right? So 370 right here. If you get that dip buy, if you get that pullback, which I don't know if you will, I would look for 370, pre-market lows. That's what I would look for. I don't know if you're going to get that today, but if you do, by some chance, you see a big pullback, watch this 370 to turn into some support on NVIDIA. All right? I would not be the first person to short NVIDIA today. I would not come into the day with the mindset of, I'm going to short the shit out of NVIDIA because it's way too high. You are probably going to get wrecked. You might think that's the right idea. I just don't think that that's going to, I mean, it might work for you. I don't think that's even, it's not worth it. It's possibly not worth the risk, in my opinion. That's my opinion. I don't think you short something that's this strong. There's going to be a shitload of shorts getting out. There's going to be probably a gamma squeeze. There's going to be new options being created, right? They have to increase. This is like GameStop. They have to open new options, right? They have to open new options. They opened new ones this morning, right? All these NAs, these are new option contracts, right? These are new option contracts. The options chain ended at 405 yesterday, right? 405 yesterday. So you will have new options being created this morning, which is, it's crazy to even say that on a stock like NVIDIA. Best of luck, guys. This is new. This is fresh. This is, untraveled water here for NVIDIA. Untraveled, whatever that term is. You're going to have to play it on price action. You're going to have to play it on your understanding of what candles are looking like, what the price action looks like, what's the tape showing you, right? That's all you're going to be able to trade NVIDIA off today. There's no levels above. This is all nothing, right? This is all nothing. There's nothing above here. So this is all fresh. New levels on the stock. So I would look for the 392.50 to 395 retest. That's what I'd look for, right? That would be the only trade that I would consider here today, right there. Pull back to this 392.50, 395. That's what I would look for today on NVIDIA, all right? AMD, uncharted territory. There you go. AMD, this is what I look for on AMD, right? Look to see if AMD gets the break and hold over 120. Pretty much the same concept, right? The break and hold over the after hours highs. This is what I'd look for right there. Look for it to break and hold over 120. That would be the break and hold above the futures high, after hours highs. If you can get that, then I think you can set up a nice play on a break and hold over 120, right? That's what I would look for. You can also look for the rejection of 120, right? I think 120 is going to be the level to watch to either side, either the break and hold above or the supply rejection of 120, right? So 120 is, I think, the level to watch on AMD. Obviously, that demand steps in around this 116. So if you do get a pullback, it's the same concept as NVIDIA. You could look for that demand hold of 116, right? That could be very interesting. Michael, I appreciate that, man. Michael Hall, thank you so much. That's going to buy me a drink in New Jersey. I appreciate that, man. So 120, right? 120. That's what I would look for. 120, that's the big level. And then 116, you're in a channel right now. So what do we do in a channel, right? It's the same concepts. What do we do in a channel? We look for supply rejections, we look for demand holds, or we look for breaks and holds of either side, right? That's what we do in channels. So those are the four trades I would look for today on AMD. 120 and 116. To the upside, there's actually a lot of room on AMD. So if I zoom out, there's a room until this 125 on AMD. Actually, I have to go to the 4-hour to include this move. And you can see right here, there is not much here on AMD until this 125. So could it be safer to trade AMD today? Possibly, right? Do you want to leave NVIDIA alone and trade AMD? I don't think that's a terrible idea, right? So you can see AMD does not have rejections here until around this 125 level, right? So if we zoom over, right, we have some room until that 125. So could that be the trade today? Could it be a break and hold over 120 for a long into 125? That could be a watch today as well on AMD, all right? Qualcomm, I'm in Qualcomm puts, and I'm actually really happy about what I'm seeing here. Qualcomm is getting beaten down because of this NVIDIA earnings. Yeah, I'm liking what I'm seeing here. I am still targeting that gap fill on Qualcomm. There is a gap to fill below on Qualcomm into 93, and I want to see if this NVIDIA earnings continues to sort of eat Qualcomm's lunch here. There is a gap here under 102 into this 93. And Qualcomm is pretty damn weak this morning, right? Look at this pre-market. It's very weak, making new lows as we speak. So I am definitely still going to hold my Qualcomm puts for that gap fill into this 93. Definitely a watch for me on Qualcomm. Yeah, Nasdaq drew that 13,950. All right, so the other one that I want to show you is Microsoft. Right, Microsoft. I think Microsoft can catch some momentum from this NVIDIA earnings, right? Microsoft's sort of been getting their feet in this AI, in this semiconductor sector. So Microsoft definitely strong this morning. So I would look for this 323 today, right? Look for that 323. Same concept as NVIDIA, right? If we get a break and hold over this 323 previous high, that's where I would look to long Microsoft on a break and hold over these highs right here, right? That's what I would look for. 323, break and hold above. Now, you still have to be careful of the rejections as well. Now, we are still below, right? We are still below this 323, and you still have to be cautious of those supply rejections here on Microsoft. So be aware of that, right? 323 Microsoft, 323. That's your level to watch. There's not much above on Microsoft here. All right, if I zoom out and I look at where Microsoft is, I'm going to put this line to the left, right? This is where we're trading right now at 323. If I zoom in here, actually, let me zoom out again. If I zoom in here, we're trading right here at 323. If we get above 323, I think you have some room into these lows around 330. All right, so 323 to 330. But you can clearly see this morning, right? That's going to be the level to watch. 323 right there on Microsoft, all right? Again, right? Remember, again, this is going to have a major gap up, right? All these stocks are going to have major gap ups. Obviously, NVIDIA is probably going to be stronger than the rest, but AMD, major gap up. Microsoft, major gap up, right? Be careful. You know, it's not always a gap and go. It's not always a gap and go. We have to keep our minds open to potential gap fills or at least some kind of pullbacks here after a big move and a big gap up. Snow, yeah, I'm going to look at Snow. Thanks for the 199 Global Trader. Appreciate that. Snow's probably, I mean, if it stays weak, if the market is somewhat weak today, or if Snow just underperforms, I would assume Snow comes back to this 135. That's where I think Snow will eventually come back down into, right? 135, it's this major channel low. Look at all this demand down here. Look at all these bounces at 135, like 10, 15 times. I would assume at this point that you're going to want to try to retest that low. I don't really like longing Snow anywhere besides this low, right? That would be where I think Snow should move down into and retest that channel low, all right, after this pretty nasty earnings reaction, all right? 150, I mean, maybe there's something in 150, but I don't like it. I mean, there's some previous highs around this 150, 147. I would be a lot more comfortable looking for this 135, right? I would be more comfortable looking for this 135. There is some here, right? You can see right here. There's a little bit here at this 147, 150. So, yeah, you could definitely watch that 147, 150. But I would look for that 135, all right? That's where I'd feel more comfortable. Let's go over some more semiconductors. TSM is one of them. You guys know. I took my 200% on TSM. Obviously, I wish I was still in it. We caught this move. I got out a little bit on this pullback. And then, obviously, on earnings on NVIDIA, this thing rocketed again. Watch 96 today. 96 is your level to watch. If I go to the 4-hour chart, you guys can see right here. All right, look at this 4-hour chart on TSM. All right, right here, 96. If you hold above that 96, then I think you will have continuation. If you hold above 96, then I think you get some continuation into this 98, 99 level. All right, so watch out for this double top here, 98, 99, and then watch out for that wick rejection right at 98, right? So 96, this has to hold today. That is that channel high. Actually, let me get the exact level here. The exact high of this candle is 95.82. So I'm going to put a line at 95.82. Right? You need to hold above 95.82. That is that 4-hour channel high. So if you hold above that, then I think you can have continuation. But if you break back below that 95.82, 96, be careful of some weakness there. Big rejections up here at 98.99. MU was a perfect 4-hour break and retest of previous channel highs. It doesn't get much cleaner than this, right, guys? Look at this, right? Previous channel highs. It's an absolute perfect break and retest. Previous triple top. And what did it do? Triple bottom, right? There's nothing more clean than that. I think that's pretty self-explanatory if you watch my channel, if you know about anything that I look for. This is a perfect triple top into a triple bottom. It's bullish, right? That's bullish. Triple top into a triple bottom. Nothing quite bearish about that. I would watch the 70 level, right? I would watch the 70 level. If we zoom out, 70 is a very big previous low here. On the daily chart, you can see right here, 70, 70, 70, and this was down into like the 65s, but 70 I think is going to be big, right? Psych level and some previous lows here. So just be careful of 70 on MU. Right there, sitting right there, right? But look at how clean that break and retest of 64 was. All right. Let's go Tesla. So Tesla, yeah, is moving higher. Be careful of this 187, right? This is Tuesday's lows, right? After we broke those Tuesday's lows of 187, look at the downside. So you are coming right back into 187 today on Tesla. Be a little bit careful of that 187. You're starting to see some rejection step in here right in the pre-market, right? Rejection, rejection, rejection. Little triple top in the pre-market right at 187. So you need to get over 187 if you're going to look for upside on Tesla. And if you're playing upside on Tesla, you can't forget about the 190 supply, right? You saw the reaction at the 190 supply on Tesla. You know this is a major daily chart rejection level, right? Right here. This is a major daily chart rejection level and a really nasty daily wick here at 190. So if you do play Tesla upside over 187, please consider taking profits in the 190, right? I would be very cautious longing or holding longs into 190 here on Tesla today, right? We know this is a heavy level up here. So watch that 190 and then look for that 187, all right? Keep an eye on that level. Meta. I want to show you Meta. Oh my God, it already did it. Holy shit. What the fuck? Oh man, it already fucking did it. Wow. Yeah, this was sexy. This was a big watch for me this morning. Off the 248. Wow, it already did it. That's crazy. Okay. Well, I was about to tell you, look for the break and hold of 248, but that is already gone. So now you got to watch this 253, 253.50. Damn, dude. That would have been a sexy play at open. Look at that. That hurts. That hurts. So 253.50 right here. That's what I would watch. And remember, guys, there's nothing above here on, I mean, you could watch like 250. I would say watch 253 flat. There's nothing above on Meta. Remember that. This is gap, right? This is gap. This is no man's land up here. So remember that. This is similar to NVDA at all-time highs, right? This is big-time gap levels above on, if it's over 248, it's above that gap. So look for that 253 retest hold. Damn, that is a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful bull flag off 248 right now. I would watch Meta today. I like that a lot. I like that 248 hold. That's that gap fill. That's that gap fill level. As long as it's holding above 248, I think Meta remains bullish. Just watch out for that 253 level today, right here. All right. We got 1 minute until I sort of have to go. We're going to let the economic data hit, and then I'm going to have to go about a minute after that because I'm pushing it real close to my flight. So let me see what else I think I want to go over. I want to show you Netflix because Netflix is not breaking above 364 still, guys. We are still below 364 on Netflix. If there's any weakness today, you could still see this Netflix downside under 364. It's very surprising to see Netflix still rejecting 364. With the NASDAQ doing what it is. So watch that 364 on Netflix. Let me go through my DESI TA and see what else I pointed out to the group today. Microsoft, NVIDIA, MU, Snow. We talked about Netflix, Meta. Yeah, look at this. We were talking about that 248. That's gone. Apple. We'll take a look at Apple, Amazon, and Google real quick. Apple, Amazon, Google. So Apple, watch channel low 170. If the NASDAQ really catches steam today and Apple wakes up, watch that demand hold of 170. And let's see what the GDP numbers are doing as we speak here. So you just rejected that 414.50. GDP 1.3 versus 1.1. So a lot lower than the prior reading, 2.6 versus, it's 1.3 versus 2.6 prior. So a big decrease in GDP percentage versus prior. It is higher versus the expectations. Jobless claims 229 versus 250. So GDP, GDP a lot lower than prior. 2.6 prior, this reading was 1.3. So about half. Cut in half on the GDP quarter over quarter. Above, higher than estimations. Real consumer spending 3.8 versus 3.7. So consumer spending staying stable. So you are getting some data dropping now. It's just focus on the levels, guys. That's all. All right, focus on the levels. 4170 on the ES. I'll go over the futures levels one more time here before I got to go. 4170 on the ES, big ass level. Watch that level. Be careful trading SPY and ES off of NASDAQ strength, right? This is not a big move for the ES at all. Be careful trading SPY calls because you think NVIDIA goes higher, right? That's not going to work for you potentially. This is a very stock-specific move here so far today. Please understand that. NVIDIA, obviously look for that retest we were talking about. QQQ, look, or NASDAQ, look at that rejection, right? Look at that rejection. That is the exact level we just talked about. Look at that rejection on the NASDAQ. Do not get ahead of yourself here on the upside if the NASDAQ is under this double top. Please do not get ahead of yourself on the upside if the NASDAQ is below this triple top now, potentially, okay? If you get above this level, if you hold above 13,950, then I think it could be off to the races. But please pay attention to this triple top at 13,950, all right? Please pay attention to that today on the NASDAQ futures. That's going to be key. I'll talk a little bit about how I would approach today, guys. It's going to be madness out of the gates on NVIDIA. Madness. The option contract, the options chain has to everything has to change on the options chain on NVIDIA today. The spreads are probably going to open all wacky. There's going to be pretty wild bid-ask spreads, I would assume. There's going to be some crazy volatility. There's going to be new option contracts. Let things settle down, right? If you don't want to walk away today with a huge loss and really get upset at yourself, just take a chill pill, right, on NVIDIA. Let it go. Let it trade. There's going to be volatility. There's going to be opportunities. You do not need to trade NVIDIA in the first 5 minutes of the market. Obviously, everyone wants to be, in NVIDIA. Everyone wants to get going. But let things settle out on NVIDIA. Let the NASDAQ decide where it wants to go. Look to see that discrepancy between the ES and the NASDAQ. And just sort of take a little relax. Take a little chill pill on her. All right? This is AMD. You can see AMD's pulling back right now. NVIDIA is sort of giving you that retest potential here as well, right? Around this 390, 350, 395, or 390, 250, 395. All right? So watch that previous high retest. I can't stress enough about this NASDAQ high, right? Look at the hourly candle that just got put in on that NASDAQ high, right? Look at that hourly candle right there that just got put in at that 13,950. Watch that level, all right? I hope you guys have a fantastic day. I got to get out of here. I have an Uber that's about to be here. I'm heading out to New Jersey. Going to meet up with Carmine. Shout out to you, Carmine. Look for some content from me and him. I hope you guys enjoyed the little short stream today. Hopefully it prepared you a little bit. If you guys could, press that like button. Subscribe to the channel. There's going to be no live. You know what? There might be a live stream tomorrow. Just keep an eye out for it. I don't know yet. I'll surprise you. All right? Press that like button. Subscribe to the channel. And I will see you guys possibly tomorrow. Peace out.